Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Thursday, June 9th, 2022. Another crazy and wild day in the markets, but in all honesty, it still holds within the parameters that I have been discussing for a triangle pattern. Let's start here on the daily. There aren't any real changes to the daily. I will expand what could possibly be going on. So I'm going to be including more on if the market just continues to drop from here, what could that be telling us? So I'm going to give the preferred view and some alternate views. And we'll take a look. Let's be prepared for tomorrow. They're putting a lot of weight on what's going to come out in terms of that CPI number. And so there's going to be a big reaction one way or the other. It comes out tomorrow morning, 5:30 Pacific Daylight Time, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Pre-market, it comes out before the opening. I am fairly certain that it's going to be wild and woolly unless it comes in spot on expectations. But even that, I think, is going to create a little bit of a rift in the market. There's been a lot of weight put on this number to dictate direction. And that is what I think is going to happen tomorrow morning. A lot of algorithms already pre-programmed or just like pick up that piece of news, this piece of news, and run with it. So I expect the reaction to be big. Now, again, here we are, daily chart. We're still, in my view, in an intermediate third wave down, where we have completed minor wave one. Remember, there are going to be 5 waves of minor degree. Minor 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Waves 1, 3, and 5 will be in the direction of the trend, which, by the way, is down. 2 and 4, counter trend. So if we got wave 1 down, we're in a wave 2 counter trend correction. What will be inside the counter trend correction? An ABC structure. Here's wave A. Wave B, I believe, could very much have ended at today's low at 12,255. Did it exceed earlier parameters? Yes. Is it still within the characteristics and personality of this type of a move to finish a triangle? Yes. Does it feel like it's thrusting to the downside versus the upside? Yes, it does. But that doesn't mean that it's thrusting in the wrong direction. There are a lot of factors that go into what caused this downside today. Yes, it exceeded it. Yes, that's what I was looking for. But I was feeling at the end, which happened to come on the bell today, we would get a turn and a thrust going the other direction. But when you start to think, how's that all going to work out? If we're kind of sitting and the thrust doesn't come today, but the thrust is going to be created off of the CPI number released tomorrow morning. Well, here we are. We get to that low right on the bell. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to, we are Globex. It's going to open in an hour and 20 minutes. So, yeah, at 3 o'clock. So this, it fits. It truly fits. Overnight, if they start to take us lower, it could change dramatically what we can be expecting tomorrow. So in any case, let's start to just take this apart and see what we got going on. I'm going to drop this down to the hourly chart and we can take a look inside all of this. So that's the top of wave A. Here we have A of B, B of B, no, excuse me, A of B, B of B, C of B, D of B, E of B. Now, it exceeded. But again, this is A of E, B of E, and then we got to do 5 waves. which I believe we did. Either that, or it's a very another strange little pattern. So this remains corrective in nature. I will have to wait for the market to kind of give me if it's anything else other than one big counter trend move. And being that it could be a triangle, that still plays out. Here is the flat, and it jumped and it broke, and it really went down an additional 150 points, 180 points, excuse me, beyond where I think it should have. Now, a little bit throw over, yeah, that would have been in line. But as much as we've gotten, is it out of line? Not necessarily. It really isn't. So what does that tell me? We're pretty oversold. Momentum definitely, hopefully will wane, and we start to get our move up. Now, I wouldn't expect that the Asian markets or the European markets are actually going to push in the thrust type of an action. They might, but in front of that CPI release, no. I think we are waiting for that CPI release. So it may just be up a little bit and sideways, down a little bit and sideways. So either way, I think that all are going to be resting on tomorrow's figure. A lot is resting on tomorrow's figure. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of hype, a lot of misinformation, disinformation, however you want to label it. This has to happen. This is going to happen. This, and it's not right. I don't think that I can sit here and tell you, I can tell you exactly what the market will do tomorrow and where it'll end up. Okay, I can't. If somebody else can, God bless them. But what I can do is put some parameters around what we might be expecting. So let's take a look first at an upside scenario. I want to go back out to that daily chart, and now I want to put back our fibs. And the first one that I'm going to put back is just the plain old wave 2 fibs that will go with the minor wave 2. You can see we only got up to 382. Wave 2s are normally coming up to 50 to 62%. So there's still plenty. But as I have been saying, while this does appear to be a 5-wave structure to me, if this continues to drop down, then I'm going to have to put minor wave 2 right there and look at what's happened inside here to see if there isn't a very small 5 waves up and everything else becomes part of the correction. And that we get the A, B, C all right in here, with the A wave being gigantic and the B and the C kind of being contained in 600-point ranges versus the strength that we saw initially. That is a possibility. So we have to continue to remember, and I'm not changing anything that I've not already said, that if this is minor wave 2 in its completed form, then I'm going to go into that in a second, because that is an alternate view, and it might just be the view. So, excuse me, that would be the preferred view. And right now I'm going to talk about that versus the alternate, which is if minor wave 2 is here. Excuse me, I know it's been a long day, and it's just been a long day. So here's what, if indeed the triangle is done and this completes the B wave and we still have a C wave to do, then I think all is going to hinge on that number tomorrow morning. If that number even remotely comes out acceptable, more positive than what everybody was thinking, this market will take back every penny that it gave up today and end up above here and then likely above here. That would be a gigantic rally, 700 points. Have we seen it in the past? We have. Now, add to tomorrow, it's another expiration. It's a weekly expiration tomorrow. So let's take a look. Look at Apple. Apple slid through 5 or 6 strike prices today. As it came, first it went up, then it slid lower. Amazon down 5. So much for that split, so much for a rally, right? It's sliding through strike prices. Google sliding through strike prices. Metaverse changed the name, finally got that ticker symbol. Down 12. They were racing it up because all's good now. We've changed our name. 197, 198. Where's it close? Down 12. We have so much. Microsoft was trading up above 270 now, exactly. So we're seeing a lot of activity that affects tomorrow's expiration. So what kind of, and I believe, aggravated today's close was the pressure that the sellers are putting on and creating additional sell pressure because it forces adjustments in all of these option stocks. And pretty much all of them have options. You start driving things lower and with expiration coming tomorrow, whew, you've just exploded a whole lot of gamma positions and it's forced to adjust, forced. A lot of things happen. So it doesn't necessarily mean, wow, how did everybody turn bearish? Well, you're just going to come in because somebody wanted to get out. So people wanted to sell, and it gets pushed even further because of an expiration. Now, having said that, if we turn tomorrow and we start to rally, that's going to put a definitive end to that and likely lead us to that we're in a C wave up. We should get the thrust. Remember, that's important, the thrust. And as I described yesterday, it is about, let me say, this is 12,412, and this is 12, it's about a 500. About a 500 point rally. That's the thrust. Can it all happen in one day? It could, but somehow I wouldn't hang my hat on it. But it would have to be a pretty serious rally. It would have to be a very strong rally. Again, being that it's an expiration, you're going to go flying through all these strike prices now to the upside and force an additional huge round of adjustments to positions that are getting set to expire. And remember what I said yesterday, that tomorrow could be a preview of what we can expect next week, Friday, which is the monster expiration for on a quarterly basis, larger than what we saw in March. This is the forecast. This is the prediction. March was 3.2. This is supposed to be $3.6 trillion. That's a lot of money that's going to get settled out. So some of that could happen tomorrow. They're going to get a jump on the gun and they're going to do a lot because options, positions do expire tomorrow. Now, what happens when that number is not any good, is not acceptable by the market, shows that inflation truly is out of control? Let's not forget crude oil, even though it's the July contracts trading at $121. Think about what you paid the last time you had to fill up your gas tank. Think about what you or your spouse or your significant other paid when they went to the grocery store to buy food. Think about what we have to pay when we need to buy staples, when we need to buy toilet paper and paper towels and clothes. Everything has gone up. Inflation is very, very present. And no, it's not under control. And no, CPI, I don't think is going to present us anything special. Like it's dropped a whole full percent. So these are just things that I don't see. And a lot of it is based on my experience in the markets and in just following Elliott. So that is where I come up with a lot of what I am believing in, what I'm seeing via the Elliott. So again, if it's not acceptable, then I'm going to have to consider very strongly that this completed minor wave 2, and we have begun a minor third wave down. Now, I'm going to remove this particular Fibonacci retracements. Bear in mind, these stay valid. 12,945, which is the high, which also is resistant. The 50 now coming down and basically almost meeting that at 12,978. And then any rally up in a C wave has to clear that and get itself up to 13,400 now is where basically it sits. 13,400 approximately is where the 50% level. That's the first more common area for wave 2 to reach. Fibonacci 50% of the first wave. Outside of that, we have 13,842. That's the 618. Those still are in play, believe it or not. We're 1,600 points below it, but they're still in play to be reached eventually if it indeed is a minor 2. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying grind it in stone, carry it up, put a plaque up there that this is what I said and it has to happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm giving it as a possibility. I'm giving it as a possibility. And here, look at this news. This is what's coming out. Fed has to take us into recession to get inflation under control, says G Squared's Victoria Green. Why put that news out right before we get a CPI number? Well, we better tell the truth. Okay, the Fed has to take us into recession because they're lax and they didn't do their job and they kept being behind in getting control of inflation. So maybe that's a true statement. Now we have to take us into recession so they get interest rates high enough to curb inflation. All our possibility. What's that going to do to the market? Are we going to still say that we're going to go up here? I doubt it. So now I'm going to give you the other side of the coin. If this isn't a triangle pattern and this turns into a 2, then we're going to be looking at this being a very sloppy, ugly 1, a 2, and we're dropping in a 3rd. Now, like I said, I'm going to take this down and I'm going to put up extensions. We can use extensions to determine how this 3rd wave is going to look. Okay, let's take a peek. I've been talking forever about a sub 10,000 move. Well, there it is. If that number is not well accepted, if the market starts to tumble, we can get into a crash-like scenario. If that happens, this thing's going to just start to go. Breaking below 11,491 will be easy. We'll get there. We'll go lickety-split right down. And guess what? 382 of the drop is just 11,483. 50%, 11,032. 10,582. Look what we're getting. We're looking at a 3rd. 3rd waves are normally the longest and the strongest. If this count is correct, unless I have to move that minor 1, put it up a little bit higher and do something different, and I have to look for a 3rd wave, that is just where wave 3 equals wave 1. That is telling a whole different story. I don't necessarily see it, so my guts tell me right now, you may have to adjust your count. But I'm still thinking, no matter what, we're going to get smashed if this is what's happening. And so it could be nasty. And so what else? It just is going to go down. That's what I think. If this number doesn't come out correctly, I am looking for downside, and that downside should bring us below 10,000. Now, if I have to make an adjustment here so that this 3rd wave is likely getting closer to completing, I still would be looking for this, and then get a 4, and then get a 5, and the 5 I believe is going to be taking us down closer. Remember, I'm going to take us out there. What I'm looking for primary wave A to get us somewhere down in here. 66.28. So maybe this isn't so far off, but it's really going to include the 3, the 4, and the 5. And we end up down here, we end up here, we do a primary A, and then we get into, you want to talk massive rally? Trust me, by then, and I'm talking about a rally that size, they'll all tell me I'm nuts. Just like they're telling me now, we can't go down. We're not going to go down. Everything's going to be fine. Okay, we'll see. I'm not going to dispute it. We'll see. But look what they've done already, okay? They're already pushing the market back up. They've already got it up 50 points from where it closed. So they are stepping back in and buying it right now. But I'm giving the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin would dictate that that number comes out and it's bad and we drop. If they push us all the way back up overnight, well, then obviously it's the previous. Okay? Let's not get carried away about being wishy-washy or anything else. We're trying, or I'm trying, to say very cleanly what are the potential moves that are going to happen. That's it. On the moving average, we have broken the 200, we've broken the 50, we've broken the 20, we've broken them all. These are all very strongly in decline. The 50 is now catching up, the 20 is now catching up, and the 50 has yet to cross the hourly 50 is yet to cross the hourly 200. That would be major when it does, and it's going to force some continued downside. So this little rally, recovery rally. I'm not looking at that like it's the start of a kickoff to end this triangle pattern, if that's indeed what it is. So what can I say about for tomorrow? To the upside, it needs to do it lickety splits. In other words, again, same deal. If the triangle pattern is done, it reverts and it goes up. And I would say at least taken back the 315 or 330, whatever it closed today, we take that back. We get back above, likely 12,726. Believe it or not, folks, that's where we started. That's the high from today. So we need to get back above that and then keep going to get that finishing move in play. And that would be a finishing C wave. If the number isn't acceptable and we start to break down, once we break 11,200, it should pretty much negate the upside move and continue to move us lower. With that, then the expectation for a break below 11,491. First support, 11,483. Next, 11,033. Next, 10,582. We get these big black holes in here. And why I call them black holes is because we have to go so far, oh, come on, to this end, and we're not going to do it. So let me go out to the weekly chart so I can show you. When we start getting down in here, look how far I have to go. I have to go out to September to find price support. So you can see there's nothing. We're correcting all of this rally. And so what went up must come down, and you got to look for your support, price support. So what do we have here? Do we have anything here? No. So we have price support here at 10,942. 10,656, and then it starts breaking down pretty quickly. And that's where we have major support all the way down there. I know I'm talking off the top of my head, but not really. So, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen tomorrow. What I can add is that if this thing starts to cut loose and go down, it will feel like a crash, just like it did the last hour and a half. It was straight down. If you were trading, you just sold it and just sat there and collected. Honestly. And so don't get stuck in the who, what, where, when, or how. Play the price action. Go ahead and sell. You're in control. You can control the trade, but you can't control it if you're on the wrong side. If you're thinking I'm long, but it's going to come back, it's going to come back, it's going to come back, you lost your account today. But if you're on the right side, you can control that trade. You could put a stop in and a trailing stop and walk it down. If they suddenly reverse it, okay, you're out. You make your money. Now, I have to leave it there. Otherwise, we'll be here all night talking. So please continue to use the moving averages. They are tradable on our very short-term charts. You can see this. Here we have the 1 minute chart. Well, that's when I trade on. These are Bollinger Bands. They're both turning higher. If this gets high enough, they're going to come down. They're going to break it. When they break the bottom Bollinger Band, look out. We're heading. We're holding back. Here again, we're now pushing back above the 4, 8, and 20, all grouped together right there. VWAP is rising. We got the 50 up here. The 200, it's a big boat. It's all the way up higher. 5 minute chart, a little bit different. It's only popping above the 4 and the 8. So if it breaks back below the 4 and an 8, I'm looking for that. So there are signals and you can trade them. All right, I'm going to leave it right there. Have a good trading day tomorrow. It is expiration. It could be very, very wild and woolly because of the CPI number, because of if we have a continued drop, it is pushing through strike prices that are going to cause massive adjustments. Have a great trading day tomorrow. And our next update will be on Sunday, the 12th.